So not a lot of people have this opportunity to learn sales because of not having constraints. And people who have constraints often see that as the boundary and they never cross it. Like you mentioned, people who have boundaries but have the intent to cross it will find ways to cross it. But if I was told earlier that by crossing boundaries, you will actually learn something extraordinary, I would attempt to cross my boundaries. So in today's day and age, if somebody is, let's say, 16 years old or 22 years old, how do you think they can create an environment around themselves to learn sales deliberately?
The easiest thing to think about in life, and especially when you are 16, 17, 18, 19, your life situation is not really to make money. You have just basic stuff. For example, figuring out, every kid at 16 to 21 figures out how to convince parents to do something. And there are some people who are very good at it, some people who are not good at it. The easiest thing to do is find out from the kids who are very good at it, what do they do? What do they say? How do they convince? When do they ask? What kind of stuff do they talk about? Right? And get good at it. Often people assume persuasion is lying and manipulation, which is where the gap is, right? It's not lying and manipulation. It's about understanding what the other person expects. How can you create a win-win situation, right? For example, many kids say that, hey, if I get this done and I'll finish my homework, I do this thing, can I just go for this one particular thing? And that's kind of make a simple thing become saying, okay, it seems that I deserve this, right? But a lot of times we go into this random fights, random debates, emotional dramas, because we have no persuasion skills. Everything becomes a conflict.
Correct. And
because everything is conflict, we avoid it. So we don't change, right? But if you think about it, let's say you need to convince somebody at school to join for a plan. Same situation. How would the best people do it? Observing them, mimicking them, asking them to teach you in your circumstances. Another thing that you'll notice is that all the people who are not good at sales and persuasion are also terrible at asking for help. Usually connected topics, right? They will not go and say, yeah, I really need this help. I need to convince somebody for doing this for me, or allowing my professor to allow this for me, or do something for me, or let me skip this particular practical in college. Can I? And they will never ask people who are good at it. And that's a consistent thing you see, that people who do not grow are the ones who do not ask for help. Not asking for help is deeply connected to persuading, because there is this barrier of looking small or feeling small by asking for help, which comes from insecurities, which acts as a big blocker many other times. For most of the times, you will be told no, but what does it change anything in your life? But to avoid no, we don't attempt. So you see patterns that are all connected to just creating this image of ourselves. For example, what you will see is people who think of themselves as this, but their actual substance is this, are the easiest to offend. Right? Because you can easily do some only and they'll react quickly to that. And in fact, those are the exact people we love trolling, making fun of, annoying them, right? But people who have this thing close to each other, they're very hard to offend. For example, if somebody told me, Kunal, you're overweight, I'll say, yeah, that's a fact. So what do we do now? Right? But if I had deep insecurities about the same topic, I would say, like, I will start defending and say, I will use all the terms to protect myself from that identity. Versus I'm saying that's a factual thing. So what do we do? And what are you trying to tell me? Is there a new information you have for me? So you will see that some people are just hardest to offend because their substance and their perception is connected to each other. And second, they do not have the need to react to everything. But all of these are connected topics to saying that there is an insecurity that prevents you from asking for help. There's an insecurity that is preventing from asking for somebody to do something for you that causes the thing. So what you will see that most people who are good at sales will be often called they are shameless people.
True.
And then you go back to the word shameless and say, how did we become so worried about shame? Because if you are raised by constantly being told that, oh, if this happens, somebody will say shame, shame, or if something happens, it'll be a big shame on you. If this happens, it'll be a shame. And the word shame is something that is like, log kya kahenge is an interesting thing that we have, right? So what you do is inaction. Kuch kiya nahi to kahenge nahi. So I'm good. I don't need to do anything.
Correct.
But if you get rid of that part, that you are worried about what people will say, you will compound fastest. But most people have no interest in that. they're stuck in the versions which are protecting their identity, protecting themselves, and therefore many a times people are easiest to offend. And I'm a little worried about the youth right now because they are getting to a point where social media creates an interesting bubble where you are a unique personality in front of your followers,
Correct.
right? And you create an image, but the challenge is that anybody questioning that is seen as an offense, right? Because you already have a formed view on who you are. Well, you are still getting formed.
Correct.
So I think I've seen a pattern where like people who build this tendency of getting offended quickly almost give themselves a curse forever to not grow. And I think that is something that is deeply connected to sales and being shameless and being connected to be successful.